Welcome back to the Media Unrestricted podcast. I am your host, Chase Baumgartner, and here with me is my co-host,
Dylan Castile.
and we are sorry for the long delay, 2-week delay. There's been kind of a lot of stuff going on. Right now, I'm in the part of moving to a different place, so I'm trying to get that situated and everything, and kind of, I guess I'll just share it with everyone here because Dylan knows that I did with my girlfriend on last Sunday from this. I did propose, and she said yes. So now I am an engaged man, but that's not what we're here for. We're here to talk movie news. And no, I don't think no TV show news this week, but I know Moon Knight and all that stuff's going on. I still have not actually had a chance to see that. How it's going, I probably will wait till it's over with and then catch it all up at once. Luckily, I haven't been too spoiled, so that's all good. But I'm looking forward to it whenever I get the chance to watch it. But let's wait no further. Let's get into some movie reviews for you. And first, we're going to kick it off with Sonic 2. And if you watched our Out of the Theater thoughts, me and Dylan both absolutely love this film. And I really did. I really thought this was a great film. I think it is absolutely way better than the first. And they just did so many good things with the movie. Like seeing more of Sonic and Tails on their mission to stop Mr. Robotnik and Knuckles, and just not much of the humans, which is a great thing because that's kind of a complaint. A lot of, like, I guess movies kind of like Godzilla, they always say that they focus too much on the humans and not give us enough of the monsters and stuff. So they did that very well with kind of sending the humans off to like a wedding and stuff. Like, you get them there toward the end and at certain parts, but they're not overwhelming, and it's a very nice change of pace, and I really think that worked for the film a lot. And it felt like the game just came to life, and I really liked it a lot. The chemistry between Sonic and Tails was great. Knuckles, Idris Elba was fantastic. Mr. Robotnik, Jim Carrey did a good job as well. I still believe his first outing was better, but not taking anything away, saying Jim Carrey didn't do a good job, but he did a very good job. And I just really hope he doesn't retire. Maybe come back for a third one. But if not, then I think this is a good movie to retire on. In the end battle, with that big robot you've seen in the trailer, that looks so good on the big screen. I mean, it's insane how good that looks on the big screen. And at moments, the CGI, a lot of moments during this, the CGI was so great. Better than what another film we're going to be talking about here shortly. But I mean, this CGI is so good that it kind of almost makes a lot of this seem real. When you know it's not, you all know it's make-believe and everything. But it just feels so real, and it's done so perfect. And this movie, like I said, it's so entertaining all the way through. Doesn't feel like 2 hours. Kind of feels like about an hour and a half. And, I mean, the end credits, may I say how great they are. Again, better than another film I could talk about here real shortly. It gives you a wonderful surprise and shows you what Sonic 3 will be bringing to whenever it comes to theaters. Hopefully maybe in the next couple of years. So that's how it's been working. And I can't wait. So let's talk about that end credit scene, folks. If you haven't seen Sonic 2, so spoilers, they show and tease us with Shadow, which is awesome tease, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that one come to life on the big screen. So let's just make it happen with Sonic 3 coming out to you in 2024. Let's just do it, folks. I give this movie a 9 out of 10. I see no reason to give it any lower. I just think this movie is all around a good time. Make sure you get to the theaters and check this one out. It is definitely worth the money and your time. But Dylan, what is your full thoughts on Sonic 2?
Yeah, in regards to Sonic 2, it was such a good movie like we talked about and like you just said. Jim Carrey absolutely killed it as Dr. Robotnik again. I'd still say I prefer his performance in the first movie over this one, but he was still great in this movie, don't get me wrong. The introduction of Knuckles was handled expertly. Uh, Idris Elba as Knuckles is perfect. I at first didn't know what to think of it, but looking back at it now, it's very good, and I really love his performance. He really makes him funny, and Knuckles really is like one of the comedic characters in the Sonic universe, so it was awesome. Tails, this being also his introduction, they did really well with the introductions in this movie. I'll say that. Tails, he feels like the exact character from the games with everything they've done. I really love how they gave Sonic and Tails their full relationship. Like they showed it, like actually like blossoming, and even them going through like calling each other their friend and stuff. Like it was such a good moment, and I love that this movie for that. There's also a moment like towards the middle of the movie, I think, where Sonic and Tails go to like Siberia and do a dance off. That they played a song that's pretty old. They played Uptown Funk, but I mean, I still enjoyed the scene, and I thought it was a funny moment. And there's some people who criticize the marriage, like the marriage subplot. I thought it was funny, and I liked the marriage subplot. We don't spend a whole lot of time with human characters in this movie, and I think they really wanted to cut back on that for this movie compared to the first one. Since the first one did so well, they could pretty much do whatever they wanted with this one. And it just seems to make sense to me. But it worked for me. The whole movie as a whole worked for me, and I cannot wait for what they do for Sonic 3. I do hope Jim Carrey does come back, because Chase mentioned how he talked about retiring. And Jim Carrey himself expressed a desire to return for the third one. And he wants Dr. Robotnik to be fat in the third one. So we'll see how that goes.
Now let's move on to the other movie review. I've actually got two more left. This one and then one more. We're going to go with, I know Dylan gave his thoughts when he got out of the theater for Morbius. Now this is mine. And folks, I am very, very disappointed. And I did not care for this movie as much as I wanted to. As I know Dylan's questioned it. Again, it was my opinion. And with the trailers and everything growing from me becoming a big Morbius fan, I was really looking forward to this movie and ranking it number one in my top anticipated films. And I just thought this movie was going to be an absolute great time at the cinemas. And Morbius finally being brought to the screen, I thought was going to be awesome. But they just did not deliver. The CGI was not great. It wasn't bad at all parts. There are some parts, like definitely toward the final fight scene, like with the fog and everything, that looked cool. But then, I mean, some of the CGI on Jared Leto's, I mean, he just looked like shit. And it just blows my mind that there are movies out there, like take, for instance, Lost Boys, which is from the 90s, can make, I think, 80s or 90s, whichever. And they can make vampires look real. Again, Jurassic Park, 93, can make dinosaurs look real. And this movie's from now times, and it can't even make it look real. This is ridiculous. And there's just that one part you see in the trailers, you see Matt Smith talking in the train station to Morbius, kind of Jared Morbius, and they're like, we say, all our lives, we whatever the damn line is. All they did was put CGI on that, and that is stupid. The CGI, not good. Jared Leto was fine as Morbius, not great. Um, he didn't blow my mind. I thought he had moments of shines and moments he didn't. Matt Smith, on the other hand, was very solid. He did a great job. Again, there was parts he didn't do great, but he did he did way better than Leto. The fight scenes are not the easiest to see. They kind of did that little, like, kind of say fog, but kind of make it really hard to see what's going on, and they give you the sound effects, but that just sometimes just does not work. And this kind of gets parts definitely toward the beginning, it gets kind of boring. And then there are also the moments that people have talked about all the nods to Spider-Man and all the Michael Keaton shit being taken away. And that's true, and that's sad, and that's stupid on their part for taking that away and just teasing us into something, and we don't really even get that. And that's stupid. Um, the post-credit scenes are as bad as they say. They're lazy because that's where you get the Michael Keaton, and it really makes it only look like Michael Keaton. They only could afford him for this one scene, which they shot more, but it just makes it look like we could only get him for this one scene, and we're gonna work with it. And what it teases is like, I don't know how I feel. I just got a feeling it's never gonna come true anyway, so I'm not even gonna fucking worry about it. It's just stupid. I'm just so sad to tell you folks, I hate this movie. I give it about probably a 5 out of 10. I don't hate it as much as Snake Eyes. That's a whole different level. But I'm just so sad at how bad this movie turned out. I really do not recommend it. I'm very sad to hear it and see how it definitely turned out. But Dylan, man, I know we got quickly your thoughts after the film. What is your full review on this, man? Do you agree with me? Have you kind of changed your thoughts from what I've kind of said? But what do you think, man?
Talking about Morbius, I I know when I released my out of the theater review, I was thinking of it in the moment, and this is exactly why you need to do reviews after you do the out of the theaters, so it has time to stew in your mind and all that stuff. But looking back at it now, it's not a good movie, like you said, Chase. I gave it, like, I think a 7.9. Yeah, that's going to be dropping a lot. I won't go as harsh on it as Chase did. I'm probably going to give it like a 6, but it's not great at all, really. I think the only thing for me that's pretty decent about this movie is the acting, because I thought Jared Leto and man, I'm so upset that I forgot these people's names. Jared Leto, the female doctor who's like his second, and the guy from Doctor Who. All of the actors to me did fairly well. I thought Tyrese was pretty bad in this movie. Yeah, he was pretty bad to me. But like, other than the acting, the story is kind of nonsensical, and I didn't think the CGI was that bad. I thought the CGI was actually fairly decent. I didn't see any glaring issues with it or anything. But like Chase was saying, the end credit scenes are like the worst in any movie I've ever seen ever, because they don't make any sense. Michael Keaton's Vulture being brought into the Venom verse literally makes no sense, especially when they're using it under the idea that it was because of what happened in Spider-Man No Way Home. But that movie itself established what that spell was supposed to do, and it wasn't supposed to bring people from the MCU to other universes. It brought people from other universes into the MCU, and then when Doctor Strange finished his spell, it sent them all back. So why would it bring Vulture from the MCU to the Venomverse and then not send him back when that spell was over? It makes no sense. It completely reestablishes what that spell is supposed to do when they just had it in the movie. I'm pretty sure, obviously, this is a reshoot that they did, but it's a reshoot that doesn't make any sense. And then you have the other post-credit scene that teases the Sinister Six, and it just doesn't make any sense, because throughout the whole movie, Morbius isn't a bad guy. Like, he's been even going through telling people he's not the bad guy here, and that he's trying to stop the bad guy. So why all of a sudden would they make him the bad guy at the end of the movie just to make a Sinister Six? It just doesn't make sense. But we're getting the Kraven movie in the Venomverse next, since Into the Spider-Verse got delayed and Madam Web comes out after Kraven, I think. Maybe? Or, I can't remember if Madam Web comes out before Into the Spider-Verse or after, but regardless, we're still getting the continuation of the Venom verse through Craven, the Hunter movie that's coming out in January of 2023. So whenever that happens, we'll, you know, have fresh out of theater and review and everything for you then as well.
And my last movie review is Ambulance. I kind of heard how some of this was going in, that it was actually not as bad as people thought. And I agree 100%. I had a blast with this movie. This movie, it did drag there toward the end, I will admit it, but it was so much fun. I had Michael Bay, you did a good job with this one. I like I like some of the camera angles with the drones. I thought that was really cool. Uh, like the bank robbery scene was really intense and really really cool. And then like the ambulance, kind of what it would did, trying to get away from the cops and all that stuff, all the damage and everything. It kind of reminds me of the movie Unhinged, how some of the damage that could be. If you haven't seen Unhinged, definitely recommend that one. But Ambulance, Jake Gyllenhaal, I'm not the biggest Jake Gyllenhaal fan. I remember him from Spider-Man and all that good stuff. But he did a very good job. I can't remember what his name is off top. Dude who played Candyman in the last one. He did a very good job. The woman who was in Godzilla versus Kong, she was the villain's daughter. She did a good job. She was really the shining star for the movie. Uh, but if you can get a chance to see Ambulance, I definitely recommend this. This is a really good time. Way better than Morbius. That's not saying much. Dylan, I know you said one time that he said the CGI was really bad, or you said it to me or one of the episodes. I can't remember. I really did not see a lot of CGI. That's not Michael Bay's kind of thing. He's a lot of practical effects guy. But if anyone did see bad CGI, let me know in the comments kind of where that was. But I definitely like this movie. I give it a solid 8 out of 10. I highly recommend you see this over Morbius. Um, Dylan, did you have any thoughts or plans on seeing Ambulance after you hear my thoughts? What do you think, man?
In regards to Ambulance, it looks pretty interesting. One of the things to me that was disheartening though was that Michael Bay, like there was a interview he did with somebody talking about the movie, I think a few weeks ago, and I've never heard this from a director, but he shit on their own special effects, for the movie. Like he literally said in an interview that the CGI in Ambulance is shit. He literally said that about his own movie. Like what director would say that? But regardless of that, I probably might give it a chance. Like I might look it up and try to see if it might be streaming somewhere soon or something, you know. But other than that, I have no desire to go see it in the theater. So I'm probably just gonna look for it online at some point whenever it comes out. But yeah, that's pretty much in regards to that.
And those are the movie reviews we have for you. Definitely, if you can get a chance out, go out there and see Sonic 2 or Ambulance, skip Morbius. And if you have seen those films, please let us know in the comments what you thought of them. And let's move on to some more Marvel news, a big upcoming film that I have really got more excited for as we get closer. Doctor Strange 2. There's been a few things coming out on this movie. I'm just going to talk to you about a couple of the bigger ones. They have said that Doctor Strange 2 will have more surprises. This is coming from MovieWeb. And they say at the stage in the game and in the movies such as Avengers Endgame and Spider-Man No Way Home, Marvel fans are used to picking their jaws up from the floor and following some crowd-pleasing surprises, while audiences' jaws could be feeling heavier than ever after seeing the upcoming MCU sequel Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse of Madness, which reportedly feature more surprises than Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, and Spider-Man No Way Home combined. So that's really great news to hear. I'm super excited to see what all those surprises are. This is also coming from the article. It says, coming courtesy of a report from notable insider, the one me and Dylan like to quote a lot, John Campea. Director Sam Raimi's Doctor Strange sequel will rival any of the significant moments in the Marvel Cinematic Universe so far, with sources teasing the hugest surprises to come. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness will feature a whole host of variants of both Benedict Cumberbatch's Stephen Strange and Elizabeth Olsen's Wanda Maximoff. Excuse me. They have some reports that reshoots have been taking place to add even more cameos and characters, with sequel expected to include the Illuminati, which sees Professor X, Mr. Fantastic, Namor among its ranks, as well as Deadpool, an alternate Iron Man, and many more. While a lot of these remain rumors, it just sounds like audience will be in for a treat when Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness hits theaters on May 6th. I cannot wait to see what this movie has in store for us. Even like I've heard that we may get Tobey Maguire back, which would be no surprise since he did the Sam Raimi one, so wouldn't be surprised to see him come back. I'm just really looking forward to seeing what all these surprises are, because I think they are going to be something very special for us all to see. And then we'll move on to the rating. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness has been rated PG-13, no surprise. But it gives a description teases a horror element, which is no surprise from Sam Raimi. I think that's kind of what he wanted. This is also coming from Screen Rant. Now the Marvel movies official MPA rating offering new evidence pointing in the direction. Unsurprisingly for the family-friendly franchise, Doctor Strange 2 has been rated PG-13, but the description claims this is due to intense sequences of violence and action, frightening images, and some language. While some superheroes are no strangers to violence and action, singling out frightening images suggests that some sequences do intend to lean on Raimi's past as a horror filmmaker. While Marvel Studios would have to get a braver make on the true horror movie, thereby thinking the project's intended audience away from billion-dollar blockbuster norm, Raimi has inspired choice to push some experimentation, which scares into Doctor Strange, while his Evil Dead films have some harrowing moments that also captivate into a mixture of horror and silliness, which is definitely true. When tilted further into the latter direction, could provide to the right level of thrill ride frights for a superhero story. His style certainly seems to be more natural fit than Dickerson's, whose horror element projects leave much deeper into straight darkness than would be to the mainstream viewership. So I'm kind of want to see some of these horror elements that is featured in this film. I think that this would be the perfect time to get some of those, like with the zombie Strange and all that good stuff. But we'll see when this film just drops in just a few more weeks. So we're getting really close to the next Marvel film. But Dylan, what do you think of all this Doctor Strange news that I told you about the big surprises and the rating? What are your full thoughts?
For Doctor Strange, PG-13 makes sense. You don't need this to be like, a rated R blood, gore fest, cursing, all that. I mean, you really don't. You can have a Multiverse of Madness that's PG-13 and still have some blood and some deaths and all that stuff. So that the rating doesn't bother me one bit. And you can have a decent horror movie at PG-13 as well. Because like I said, you don't need blood and guts and stuff in a horror movie. As long as you have scary elements, it should be perfectly good. And regards to the cameos, that will be interesting because they say there are a ton of cameos in this movie that we don't even know yet. Like there are rumors of John Krasinski's Mr. Fantastic. Like you said, possibly Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is in this. But I've also heard rumors that his cameo was cut. I'm not sure how that's going to be. I personally believe that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are probably going to return in the Secret Wars movie whenever that happens. Like, there's rumors of Tom Cruise's Iron Man, since he was supposed to play Iron Man before they got Robert Downey Jr. And there are tons of other cameos that we don't even know yet, And I'm interested to see what cameos are going to be in it. Like, as we've been saying, there's a ton of cameos we don't know yet, and I have a feeling there's going to be some huge surprises in this thing.
And let's move on to our last topic of the day, one that just came out this past Monday, the Thor Love and Thunder teaser. For a just a little teaser, this is like about a minute and 30 seconds, so not too long at all. But this little teaser was a lot of fun, a lot of great moments, like toward the beginning where you see kind of like Thor just growing up, like you see him running, and he just keeps like growing, and you see the original Thor costume. That was really cool to see. I think it's going to be a really awesome movie. I think this also going to be glad to really see the Guardians back as well and see how they fit into this movie. I don't think they're going to be getting along fully throughout the film. I think Thor's going to kind of try to take over, like we kind of got teased with at the end of Avengers Endgame. Um, but I love the workout scene that's in here, him trying to lose his weight. Again, I thought that was really funny. Um, but I really love that we also got a quick look at Zeus, who will be played by Russell Crowe. I really dug that was toward the end of the teaser, the scene where Chris Pratt's talking to the Guardians, and he says, "Look into the eyes of the ones you love," and then Thor kind of like starts looking at him with that look and just kind of like blocks him every way he's trying to do. I thought that was really funny. I like that moment a lot. And then we get the showing of Lady Thor, and she just looks absolutely amazing. So amazing, and I can't wait to see how that one plays out and getting a little bit more into like with the next full trailer and seeing her. But I'm definitely loving what I'm seeing from Love and Thunder. I think this is going to be a great Thor movie, just like Ragnarok was. Um, Dark World was not that great, but it's not bad. Um, and the regular first Thor was a great movie as well. So I'm super excited to see what they bring to the table with this film. But Dylan, what did you think of this quick little teaser? I'd love to hear your thoughts.
The Thor Love and Thunder trailer looks absolutely incredible, man. Like you mentioned, all the scenes of him running and the fact that they played Sweet Child of Mine, like, is enough to give you goosebumps, especially when you hear that opening guitar riff. And, like, just seeing what they're doing with the story, like, Valkyrie is, like, since Thor basically made her queen of Asgard, she's, like, the figurehead of their government and has to go into like government stuff with all the other countries. It's interesting. Oh man, like you said, the workout sequence is probably going to be like a Rocky-esque sort of, like montage. It's going to be interesting as well. And then this movie is going to give us Gore the God Butcher, which that big monster you saw on the ground in front of Thor and Korg is like literally a scene ripped straight from one of the comic books. And I have a feeling that MCU Zeus is not going to be long for this world, and I think in that scene, that's when we're going to get Gore the God Butcher, and he's going to go in there and probably butcher some gods. He's going to probably butcher all of Mount Olympus, which is going to be nuts. And then Thor and Jane and Korg, and they're going to have to go there and figure out what the fuck is going on and who is behind all this. And I can't wait. If Thor versus Gore is the end of this movie, I can't wait for that, because from what we know, Gore the God Butcher is supposed to be a really big bad for Thor, because the sword he uses to kill the gods is called the Necro Sword, and in the comic books, the Necro Sword is made from a symbiote from Null. And also in the comic books, well, you know how in the MCU we have Nowhere, which I think is where the Collector is, if I'm not mistaken. That is the severed head of a Celestial, and in the comic books, Gore is the one who beheaded Nowhere with the Necro Sword. So I don't know if they're going to be doing that in the MCU or what. It would be a cool story for the MCU too, to explain the head. And it would be super cool if they went that direction, because this trailer was awesome, and I can't wait to see Gore in I guess technically live action, even though I think he's going to be a mix of CGI and obviously Christian Bale's practical effects costume and stuff. I'm so excited for this movie, man. Like Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness is going to be awesome. It's going to have cameos and stuff. But I don't know. I just find the Thor movies to be so much fun and always excited to see another one.
And that's our episode. Not a lot of topics coming out. I know they came out with Ezra Miller, got rested again. I'm just not going to get into that because I told you all our thoughts when he got arrested the first time, not that long ago, that Warner Brothers has got to do something, and they really do. I don't, there's just nothing for him. I really think you got to get him out and say goodbye to Flash because he's got to go. But that's just my thoughts. Dylan, if you got anything, you can go ahead and say what you think, man. But I don't have anything else on it. I guess we will talk to you hopefully next week. I know it's gonna be a little bit busy for me again. That's when moving week is. So we'll see. Hopefully, we got a lot of great news to bring to you. So stay tuned with that. But again, thank you to everyone for your support. Please like and subscribe. And again, leave your comments down below on some of those movies and what your thoughts are on them. And did you see the Thor Love and Thunder teaser? What did you think? Please just let us know in the comments. And again, like and subscribe. And we will talk to you all next time.